twice a whole lot smarter. Get the Karel Cast app free at the app store of your choice now.
Alrighty. Hi, I'm Karel and welcome to the broadcast. So very glad you are joining me. We've got a lot to talk about today, from infrastructure, the grand ideas to the littler ideas of how to feed yourself. And I'm in sort of a rush because I invited someone over for homemade soup. And guess what? I haven't even begun to make it. So you and I are going to make this together, literally in real time, while I await for Daniel Charleston, who is in town because it's Steve Cabral's birthday this Wednesday, Cinco de Mayo. So I buy things, fruits and vegetables and things, and sometimes I buy too much of things because I use Instacart, and I don't think I have something, or I think I have something, or whatever. And then all of a sudden I buy potatoes, and suddenly I've got, too many potatoes because I'm one person, and a lot of you can relate. And we're going to be talking about, while we're making the soup today, we are going to be talking about really getting things done, because when you've got things that are about to grow eyes, okay, you got to get some things done. You got to get some soup made. When you have guests coming over, you ultimately have to get something done, and we have a real problem in this country of getting things done. And I think that's where the frustration lies with most people when it comes to government, when it comes to politics, when it comes to any of it. I think, they're frustrated not just with the politicians. We're going to just have to start. So I've got onion, and I should have a whole onion down here somewhere. I know I took one out. I ain't daft, am I? I'm not going crazy. Well, luckily I have another, but I know I took a whole onion out. It is not sitting here. I am not that high. Oh, hell no. The onion has gone MIA. I'm not sure where. I'll find it somewhere. Who knows where. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to start with the onion, and I'm going to turn this pot on over here that has its own camera now. I'm going to turn this on to a medium heat because for this particular burner, a medium heat is hot. And I got my thistle oil here at the ready, and so that's all going to come together here in just a second as we talk on this wonderful, wonderful show today about cooking and eating and getting things done. Because I really believe that in terms of the United States of America, in terms of your life, in terms of the last year, in terms of your job, in terms of so much, it's about getting things done. And the fact that things aren't getting done, things that you could do because you have to do them every single day. You hear people talk about social plans, and everything's got to be paid for. Ain't nothing free, because in your house, everything has to be paid for. Okay, you don't get gifts. You don't get, well, you might, but you know what I'm saying. You don't get $1 million gifts. Your life is not their life. And in your life, you can't think about spending money until you got it. And if you do, then you're putting it on credit. We all know how dangerous credit can be, that it all comes home to roost one day. And so we hear about this 2 trillion plan this and the 4 trillion plan that, whatever. And we think, well, we got the money. Well, yeah, we do, but wealthy people don't want to give it up. You see, ultimately, the money to run our government has to come from us, from taxes. It has to. We don't our government should manufacture things. We should socialize a lot of things and have our government, run it and collect the profits. I've never understood why all the energy companies aren't government owned, and then we collect any profits from them, or if there's surplus, supply everyone energy for free in this country and then sell the surplus and make money back into the government. I've never understood, why socialism in that way is a bad thing. Our government, doesn't make a lot of money. Most of the money comes from taxes. And by the way, I'm not going to chop everything really finely for the potato soup. I've got my onion, I've got some fake bacon, I've got a pepper, I've got celery, I've got carrots, and I've got potatoes, and I've got stock. Because guess what? That's all that's in potato soup. It's really easy to make, and you can make a ton of it at once, and it smells up the house. And we're going to throw some spices in, of course. And it's hearty, and don't be afraid of potatoes. See, you've been scared away from potatoes. Oh, they're too many carbs. I'm keto, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you actually are one of those people, grow up. Okay? Grow up. Just grow up. Because guess what? carbs are not bad. Okay? See, we have so many misconceptions in this country about everything. And it all starts with our food. You know, there are so many of you that look at this baked potato and you scream. You're like, oh my God, there's so many calories. There's so many carbs. It's all starch. It's all that. You know what? It is a perfect little food. It's got tons of vitamins in it. And it does have a lot of energy, which is what carbs is, you know, or are. So yes, it is, because it's a tuber. Its whole purpose in life underground is to, if the plant ever doesn't get enough food, it is to give the plant life. So it is like a little life pod, a potato. And they are for humans too. Ask the Irish. That's why potato soup is not bad for you. Okay, you gotta get off the potato soup being bad for you. Okay, so I've got the onion here, and of course I'm gonna get some garlic out of this refrigerator that is out of control now. It gets out of control every so often, and I have to reclaim it. I buy California minced garlic, and I hear it's bad of me to do, but I'm sorry, I do it. And so there's a camera over this pan, so I'll be over there. So I'm going to take some of the fake bacon, because it takes a minute to cook. And I think it's just tofu, by the way, or seitan or something. It's fake bacon. By the way, I have liquid smoke that I add to my potato soup, because you should. So things getting done. Things can't get done without us paying taxes. No one wants to pay taxes, particularly the wealthy. And for years, you know, we used to tax the wealthy, and they still were wealthy. Isn't that amazing? So throw a goodly, godly amount of oil in there. We used to tax the wealthy, and the wealthy still were wealthy. The rich still got richer. And now, I guess we're just afraid to tax the wealthy. I don't know why, but we're scared of taking, you know, the money from all these rich people. I'm amused by that. Why are we afraid of taking money from all these rich people? I don't get it. Now here's the thing. For half the show, we're going to spend cooking onions and chopping, because y'all don't cook your onions enough when you want to caramelize the onions. And when you're making this potato soup, I highly recommend you caramelize the onions. You know why? It's going to taste so good. And really, they just become sugar at that point. And so let's do that. And let's throw in some garlic, because we're here and we're queer and there's garlic. So, and because I like it, so let's throw it in. Although it's bad for you if you're on a low FODMAP diet. Sorry, I'm not. The first two ingredients you couldn't have. So we have this problem that nothing's getting done, and partially nothing's getting done because guess what? Nobody wants to pay taxes. Okay, nobody wants to, you know, fess up more money to the government than Donald Trump did, which is 300. Oh, I bet that's loud on the. I bet that sizzling onion is loud on the microphone. So we don't want to make the rich pay for some reason. We're afraid of making rich people pay. I don't get that, by the way. Do a lot of us know rich people? And, you know, are we... what's the point? What's up with us being afraid to do things to rich people? That's something I don't get. Because you know what, as a poor person, ain't nobody afraid to not do crap to you at all. I mean, they love doing crap to you. As rich people love doing crap to poor people. I think Black Friday was invented just so rich people have sort of like a Hunger Games sort of sport to watch us, you know, go and fight for $200 TVs. Or even socks and underwear in some cases, because that's what you need and that's what you're trying to buy at Christmas on Black Friday. So, you know, the rich mess with us all the time. All the time. Oh, how they mess with us. The rich mess with the poor all the time. And yet the poor are really afraid to mess with the rich. We're even afraid to take a lot of their money when we need it. It's like we're bleeding to death over here. And we are, quite frankly. We're bleeding to death, and we are afraid to ask them for a blood donation. But they got all the blood. We're afraid to ask the blood bank for some more blood. Yes, the cutting board has ember on it, and yes, this was a gift from my niece and her wife for my birthday or Christmas or something. So we know who has all of the money, and we're afraid to go take it from them. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I'll never know why. I have no problem saying to rich people, you can make, 4 million, 10 million, whatever. But anything over that, we're pretty much taking like 80% of, because, you only need so much, and we need more over here. The rich that got just like buku rich during the pandemic while we all suffered and died, those people, I'm telling you right now, I think we should take all the money they made during the pandemic. How dare you make war? Weren't we at war? Remember that? They said it was a war against coronavirus, the war on corona. Well, if it was war and people profited off that war, that's called war profiteering, honey. And so I will tell you right now that war profiteering should be illegal. Look at those onions become translucent right before our eyes. By the way, always have some wine standing by, or red wine vinegar, or white wine vinegar. I would use white wine if I had any white wine. I do have white wine vinegar, but I'm going to use red wine because it's my potato soup, and if I want to use red wine, I will. See, do what you want to do in your kitchens, honey. Okay, so the onions are cooking beautifully. Good for them. We're doing a lot of chopping here and talking. So, getting things done. I saw the carrot go on the floor, but it's okay for Ember, and I don't know where she is anyway. She's under the bed because I got out all the studio stuff. So, it is quite okay and quite all right for rich people to mess with us, but we do not appear to want to mess with rich people. In fact, we idolize them. And, I realized that the other day. Can we just go down the line of personal therapy here, since that's what we're all good for? We're in the kitchen. I was watching this Generation Grift or Generation Hustle about millennials and who were duped or who duped people. And I got to tell you, there was this one about this poor guy who pretended to be a sultan and got away with it for decades, really, and swindled people out of $8 million, mainly rich people, but some people who put their whole retirement into this scam thing of his. And there was a statement at the end by his brother that, he came from so low on the totem pole that, he just couldn't survive in life unless he got all of this money and hung out with all of these people. And, that was his thing. If he would not have been, a human being to himself if he hadn't done that. And it struck a nerve with me because, as you all know, I've been thinking a lot about mortality in my life, my career, all of that, disability, the whole thing. And I thought to myself, you've accomplished some great things, and yet you don't feel it in your bones. You don't feel that you have accomplished great things. And yet you have. I mean, it's frickin' in the history books. You've accomplished great things. And it's part of the problem that I, too, started out so low. We lived in the car. My parents were very, very poor, never owned a house my whole life that I can remember. They never, and often got evicted from places that we lived. You see me chopping up the potatoes. Again, since you're going to cook these and then blend them up or whiz them up or emulsion mixer them up, you don't have to be making, beautiful French cuisine chops here. Just get your potatoes chopped, honey. Get something done, okay? Get it done. You've been needing to cook these potatoes or whatever fruit this is or vegetable that you have in your house that you need to make soup out of, broccoli, cauliflower, whatever. You got to make stock. Even if you're not a vegan, you got some chicken sitting around, a chicken carcass. I was going to do something with that. Well, now's the time. Make your soup. It's the beginning of the week, and you'll have it for, the rest. Oh, I don't know how much more potato. Maybe. Well, this one's been in the refrigerator sitting there just waiting to be used. So he gets used. He waited and waited and waited, and now it pays off. He got used. So you got to pay taxes, and people don't want to, and they're already bulking, and they're screaming about this $2 trillion infrastructure program while our country is literally falling apart. We are going back to our unhealthy ways. Trust me, I live in Vegas. This weekend I was out in the world, all masked up, but I was out. And guess what? We're going back to life the way it was before, including the bad habits, smoking and drinking. Remember how, it was said that smokers were at a greater risk for dying of COVID? We just seem to forget why or how or whatever now. We don't, you know? So people are going back to their old vices. They're going back to their old life. And their old life was fat and sick and consumptive and unhealthy, and it's time to deglaze the pan the first time. Ooh. Isn't that exciting? Which means pour some white wine if you have it. Red if you don't. Into the pan and scrape off all the goodness that has gathered in the pan. Scrape off all that lovely goodness. You really got to scrape too. I mean, scrape it, baby. Scrape it. Scrape the pan. You don't want to clean that up later. Add any acid to the pan right now to do that, by the way. You could add tomato to this and it would help you. But I'm going to keep caramelizing those onions because they're not caramelized yet. Everything else over here is ready to go. This one doesn't need to be used today. It's like, use me, you took me out. Oh, God, all right, whatever. Because sometimes I think your food just, you know, it's like, look, I've been sitting up there waiting to feed you. You pulled me out of the ground. Now do something with me. Okay. Bossy potato. Anyway, so getting things done has become hard to do. And there's no money to do the things we really need to do because we're afraid to take money from the rich. Let's get some nutritional yeast out while we're thinking about it. How about that? We're going to need to put some fire in there. So I've got this spice. It's Mrs. Dash Southwest Chipotle seasoning. It's a spicy thing. It's got, or you can just put red pepper flakes, which I have a billion of. I would put some spiced Hungarian paprika. Why don't I? Smoked Hungarian paprika. It'll just change the color a little, but I bet it'll taste delicious. And where is my liquid smoke? There it is. Okay, it's not lost. So I've got all these things that I need over here. Let's open up this beautiful colored, oh God, Lord have mercy. Sweet baby Jesus on the little cross of Mary. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. All right. So I think that's what frustrates a lot of us about life, about our day-to-day life. We can't seem to get as much done as we need to get done because there's too many obstacles. I think that's why a lot of people give up. Obstacles. I'm looking at so many obstacles, you know, ahead of me. Along with the thinking that I learned from that TV show, which is, you know, could you ever have climbed high enough to consider yourself successful? Could you ever have had enough money? If you had Streisand's money. You know, Streisand has her worries. She's 79 now. She can't make Mama Rose. She can't be in Gypsy anymore. And she's been trying to make that for a while now. You know? And she can't do it. And so here she was once the biggest star in the world. And she couldn't make her final movie that she wanted to make, at least not star in it. Yes, I'm deglazing the pan again. Why not? It's your kitchen. If you want to throw some more wine in there, throw some more wine in there. Saute those onions in that wine. Life is short. And so we hear them talk infrastructure and think, well, of course we need better infrastructure. The country is falling apart. How could you guys even debate this? And yet they're debating it and they're acting like there's options and like, oh, we could just take the... They never once debate. See, here, this goes back to the theme that I didn't know I was going to be on, which is why are we afraid to do stuff to the rich? I don't understand. Because these people just gave the rich a $2 trillion tax cut. And Mitch McConnell is supposed to be, you know, like speak for a lot of people. And Mitch McConnell said that we ain't revisiting the tax plan from back then. In other words, they're keeping their tax cut. Why are we afraid to take money from the rich? We really need to examine that inside of ourselves, okay? We need to try to figure out why we are so hesitant to take money from the rich. Is it because we all think we're going to be rich one day? So we all think we're going to be rich one day. And because we all think we're going to be rich one day, we decide we can't take any more money from the rich. Well, that's stupid thinking. And if I were that rich, and I saw this country in that kind of distress, and I didn't say, yes, you should tax us more, or do everything that I could? Oh, Lord. All right, let's start putting some of our other stuff in here now, just because Daniel's going to be here, and I need to have soup ready, at the ready. So let's put the carrots and celery next, and the potatoes. They all take a while to cook. So in it all goes into your pot. You're just going to eat this later. Isn't that great? All that color and beauty. You're going to eat all that later, all up in a wonderful soup. You're also going to put some cashews, just raw cashews in there. You are. You'll be amazed. Watch yourself. You're going to put some in. Look at all these potatoes. See, I had a lot of potatoes to cook. I really had a lot of potatoes to cook. We're going to have potato soup for days. All right, so, we're debating things that we know need to be done, like infrastructure. We know there needs to be billions and trillions. And, and then when they start talking to us about it, they act like keeping the rich is more important than keeping us on modernized roads and, having the internet everywhere and just all the things that, getting this infrastructure plan together would do. And they act like, oh no, well, we can't do that because then we'd have to ask the rich for more money. Well, yeah. Yes, you would, honey. And that's why we're in the mess we're in. It really boils down to that, actually. We are in the mess we are in because guess what? We are afraid to take the rich's money. And I'm not saying take all the money. I'm really not. They can keep, enough to be mega rich. But do you really need enough money where you can spend, $500 million on a yacht? Well, who are you to say? Who am I to say I'm a human being on planet Earth watching planet Earth get destroyed at your hands while you do nothing to help save it? That's who I am. I'm a resident of this planet. Lord, look at us cooking all of this marvel in here. This is spectacular food. It's all so good for you. Oh, and so we can't even, decide that we need better. Republicans are blocking the way because having better roads is somehow a liberal conspiracy, to, I don't know what, overthrow the government by having better ways to get to Washington. You'd think they'd like that, the way that they have all the sedition in the life. I don't understand. Oh, this is nutritional yeast, honey. Just throw some in. How much, Karel? Oh, about that much. About 3 pinches of nutritional yeast. Then we're going to need the liquid smoke because we need it. And how much? Oh, I don't know, a tablespoon probably. So that's that. So we all get frustrated. We tune out. We stop listening. We decide that we're not going to be involved anymore because it just takes too long. Because nothing ever gets done, because people can't even decide on the simplest of things. And then, of course, these other people, they are tenacious. Those who do evil, they really, they say there's no rest for the wicked. And that is true. But I think it's kind of backwards. It's just that they never rest, the wicked. They are driven. They are on a mission. And that mission is, I don't even know. I'm not wicked. I think it's to just destroy anything not like them. So, they never rest. And it seems that the powers of good rest all the time. It really does. Let's add a little more fat to that, okay? It seems that the FASS, by the way, fat, acid, sugar, the onions are the sugar in this. There are tons of so much sugar in the onions. So, and the pepper has got lots of sugar in it too. Keep mixing it up. And you want to cook that smells so good. And you want to cook this a little before you put in the stuff. You want to get the things cooking. Child. And so what's the answer, Karel? Well, first of all, make soup. Okay, that's the first answer. Get in your kitchen. Get your body healthy. Get your mind right. I know a lot of you say, I ain't got the time. Do you know that cooking for yourself is possibly one of the best ways you could ever spend time? Because A, you're learning about what you're going to put in your body. Like, we're going to eat all that over there in that pot, and it's all deliciously beautiful. And B, it does help you think. It's why I bring you in here to the kitchen with me. It helps you think. And I just think of the fact that we really need to get some things done. I've done some shows recently about, screw your kids. How about we make it great in my lifetime? Well, that goes to getting things done. I think all of us want something better after this. Look, I've enjoyed going out a little bit more. I'm doubly vaccinated. I wear a mask. But yes, we sat in a restaurant yesterday, a drag bar with drag queens. Jimmy's at the Madison. Jimmy's at Madison. So that's what it's called. Roxy's Cabaret. We met Roxy. She's fabulous. There was a showgirl queen, and she had all of these feathers. It was quite a day. It was Steve's birthday. Well, his birthday's Cinco de Mayo. But anyway, so we were out yesterday, and I'm enjoying that. But again, I was going to talk COVID with you today, and it's getting worse all over the world again. And we have no reason to believe that that herd immunity is not going to be achievable in the United States. And the direct reasoning by this paper and these scientists that say we won't get herd immunity is the disinformation that happened. The Donald Trump, the Fox News. So because of these a-holes and their disinformation, okay, because of that, guess what? We are not going to be able to enjoy herd immunity. Isn't that something? I mean, that sucks. It sucks like a month of Sundays from, Tuesday. It sucks. We won't be able to get herd immunity because these a-holes. And that's directly, Fox News, OAN. Oh, look how beautiful that is. Now it's time to cook this in your stock. And if 2 of the containers aren't enough, go get a 3rd. But it's time. So, again, and we think about that. Well, we're putting in all this hard work so we can reach herd immunity. And yeah, I think all of us were a little scared to take the shot. Just because I got the shot doesn't mean I wasn't nervous about it. It is a vaccine that has not really been tested for 10, 20 years. It is new. And but hey, my late husband, Andrew, putting in the stock, he went on a drug study at Stanford for protease inhibitors. And I got to tell you, when you're taking a drug that's just a drug trial, there's really, trepidation involved. So, with him as I guess an influence or a inspiration, I went and got the shot because, I said, yes, we're going to do the drug study for him when he was at Stanford doing the drug study. So how could I, in good conscience, in his memory, not take a shot just because it was, too new? He was actually in a drug study where no one else had this drug, Crixivan, it turned out to be. Another time we probably should have bought stock in a company right before. We were told we couldn't, actually. When the Wall Street Journal called us 2 days before it went public, we were told we couldn't buy stock because we now had inside information that there was going to be a Wall Street Journal story. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, sorry to get off on that tangent, but I did get a little buzz before getting in the kitchen. And before talking to you about the fact that, you can only get things done in your own life. That's really the first place you have to start getting things done. And I've had a lot of thought about that recently, too, because I'm thinking, if anything ever happened to me, I'm not done. Well, it's about getting things done. One of the reasons I'm back in the kitchen and doing things like making my own tomatoes or potato soup is it's going to be a recipe in the book. I am going to finish the book and get a vegan, like why to go vegan and then how to, start. And it's going to be recipes and things that I grew up with, things I love. I'm not a chef, I'm a cook. And so it's not going to be overly intricate. It will be involved. There are some things you have to order. But, like the veg, you'll have to order VEGG veg. Do I want more stock in this? Are you telling me yes? You're telling me yes, aren't you? Okay, I'll get some. I'll be right back. So you can still hear me while I'm gone, though. So we have to be both about action in our own lives, and we really have to be about electing people who we really feel can get things done. It seems to me that the forces of evil moved very fast under Donald Trump. That the Senate, the Congress, all of it, they all got things done very quickly, doing evil. I mean, if we have to spend all this time undoing it, there's just such little left. Might make it less thick than I want, but I can always cream it with some rice. Yes, you can when you blend up your soup. But I can also soak some more cashews and make a little cashew paste in the blender prior, and that will do that. Yes, why don't I do that? All right, I've decided I'm going to want it creamy, like very creamy. So I'm going to get a cup of cashews, and I'm going to put them in hot water. Or I could just boil them with that. Oh yeah, okay. Why not do that? So we have to get things done in our personal lives, and we have to, I'm running out of cashews. They're so damn expensive. Well, they all are. All nuts are expensive. Take it from a gay man. All nuts are expensive. And we have to really try to put the fire, under politicians. And I guess the only way to do that is to call them once a week or something. I don't know. I mean, there has to be a way to let them know we are just totally ready for action. We want the infrastructure already being built. I want to see cranes and things out right now, doing things. They want to wait until late in May to even, do this or do that, talk about it with the other side and all this other malarkey. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You should be working by mid-May. See, that's what I'm talking about. We get frustrated because people, that we see a big obvious need, and everybody sees the big obvious need, and then nothing gets done. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why does nothing get done? And the answer is obvious: money. And not that we don't have enough of it. It's that it goes back to we are afraid to take money from the rich. We are simply afraid that, if we take the money from the rich, they'll get mad at us, I guess. They'll punish us in some way. I guess we fear the wrath of the rich. We fear the wrath. What is Elon Musk going to do if he gets mad at us? Take away his battery-powered piece of junk? I mean, really, what is he going to do? What is Bill Gates, what is Jeff Bezos going to do if he gets mad at us? Take all his toys and go home? Run Amazon from a different country? Well, then that would be up to us to support it or not. And so, why are we so afraid to upset them? You cannot be afraid in the kitchen or in life. I've been living in a lot of fear. I told you this last week that I have a lot of fear in my life right now. And so I'm telling you, you can't do it. It's not healthy. I have not been living a healthy life the last few weeks because I have so much fear about medical things that may happen to me in 5 or 10 years, about what's going to happen to Ember June 2nd with her tooth coming out. And people are like, oh, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. And yet I live in that fear. I live in fear that the pension fund will run out, or, Wall Street will go bankrupt, and then what will I live off of? I don't have hundreds of thousands. All of this fear. I have been living in this fear. You've been living in this fear. We have all been living in this fear. While the rich have gotten richer and richer and richer, and we wouldn't even need to have this fear. There could be a national universal basic income if we just tax the rich even 10% more. And the rich being under, it's under 1,000 people. We are really just talking about, really, if we say the 1% of America, okay, that's what we tend to say, even though it's a misnomer. 1% of 327 million is what? 3.2 million? So 3.2 million Americans are rich, like mega rich. But of those, only like 80 to 100 are mega rich. Like, rich. So we're really afraid of pissing off 3.1 million people. Isn't that funny? Because gays are like 3 to 5% of the population, and no one's been afraid of pissing them off forever. Okay? No one has cared a bit about pissing off queens forever. Women are 51 or 52% of the population, but ain't no one ever worried about pissing off women when it comes to politics or finances or whatever. Until kind of recently. So you're going to tell me that we are so worried about pissing off less than 3 million people because we're going to take some of their money that might mean instead of buying a $500 million yacht, they've only got to buy a $200 million yacht. Oh, the burden of it all. We're the ridiculous ones. The ones that sit here and go, well, they pay. No, we're done. We're dying out here on the vine. And we act like we've all got time. So make soup. I'm going to go. This is going to boil, and when it boils, it's going to cook for about 30 minutes. And after it cooks for about 30 minutes, I'll turn it up a little. After it cooks for about 30 minutes, I'll turn it down back to medium when it gets all up to hot and boily. After it cooks for 30 minutes, I will simply puree it. I'll either use my hand emulsion mixer from Breville with a different attachment on it, or I'll use my Ninja blender. But you're not supposed to use a Ninja blender if you have hot substances. They make special ones. I use mine anyway. I just cover it because it's going to spit a little at you. Sometimes you got to cover something up so it doesn't spit at you. Mm-hmm. All right. So for today, take away potato soup, and also take away that we are frustrated, not really with, how do I say this? We're not really frustrated with America or the idea of America or the concept of America. We're not frustrated with the Constitution or the Declaration. We're not really frustrated with that. We're frustrated with the implementation of it because they just don't seem to be doing it. No change ever gets made quickly. And we all know that it could be. Because things happen in our lives at record speed. Change comes that fast, whether it's being evicted or being foreclosed upon, or great change where you finally have to jump and move to that new city. You finally have to get that new job. You're on your way to your first day and you're terrified because, well, what have I done? Have I done the right thing? All of that. So we all can make change quickly in our lives, and we know that it happens usually in our lives quickly. Some change in our lives takes a while, but most change happens at a pretty breakneck pace. So why we can all know that the planet's dying, but we haven't done anything. Why we all know that the distribution of wealth is all wrong in this country, but we haven't done anything. While we know that sometimes us and or our neighbors are just this close to being, in poverty, while we all know this, we kind of just act like, well, it can't be changed. We've been trying to change it forever, and we should just, what? Ignore it? Okay. Make your soup. Ignore the world. It smells great. See, but it's going to be like that color because of the paprika, so who makes potato soup that's actually that color? Because people say that ain't potato soup, but it is potato soup. It's just colored differently. You know what? I want to put some coconut milk in there. I do. I just thought of that just now. I want to put a can of coconut milk in there. Why? Because it's fat. And fat is flavor. Said my late husband, who died of a blood clot. But I wonder if he'd mind that I make that joke. I've been making it for a very long 20 years. No, well, not since the day he died, but he did die May 21st, 2001. 20 years. 20 years. Seems like yesterday. Time just does fly. And that's what I mean. In those 20 years, there's been a lot of great changes for gays and lesbians, but not that much has changed. We got Caitlyn Jenner out there saying she doesn't support get trans people in sports, like trans women being in women's sports and trans men being in men's sports. She doesn't support that, or the other way around, or whatever. I don't know. It's so ridiculous. I haven't even really looked at what their opposition really is. I guess if a woman was once a man and she wants to compete in a sport, they're upset with that because, I don't know, Bruce Jenner's an old sports star that was a man and is now a manly-looking woman, or I don't know. Oh, that was transphobic. But I just don't like him. Sorry that was transphobic. But I really don't like him. So I should pick on him and not his trans. You're right. You're absolutely right. Oh, let's throw these No, I'm going to wait and I'm going to... Take your cashews, by the way, that you soak in your hot water for the same time as this cooks. And as you puree them first. Make them into a paste and then mix that paste in. Cream it all in together. Maybe I'll take some still photos or something and show you. All right, I want you to think about how you can implement some change in your life that needs to be changed, something that needs to be changed. And instead of thinking about it, instead of talking about it, instead of planning it, start being the change. And I want you to today take that because we see that frustration comes if we are not the change. Frustration comes when we stagnate and then we look and see others making changes, or we look and see how simple it is to make some changes, and yet the changes that we want made are not made in government, in life. So I think that there's a motion to things, to the universe. And I believe that if you start making the changes that you can, that other change will then sort of, like AFib begats AFib and doctors begat doctors. I think change begats change. You can't really make changes until you start making changes. So start changing the things you can, like your diet. We know you need to go plant-based. Let's just get that out of the way and start. Look at what I'm having for lunch that's going to be beautiful and plant-based with a sandwich of grilled vegetables. I've got a lot to cook. Well, good thing Daniel is late. All right, I am Karel. You be who you want to be, so I'm not hurting anybody. But I'm going to go now, and I'll do pictures of this on Instagram, Really Karel. ReallyKarel.com is where you go, reallykarel.com. Go there. Also, Patreon, thank you so much. We have a new Patreon subscriber. I don't know if they want me to give their name out, but you know who you are. You know who you subscribed yesterday at patreon.com/KAREL, Karel. Thank you for that. And I will be back on Wednesday, or maybe tomorrow. I'll show you the rest of the soup. Who knows? We're loose here, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. We're going to be in the kitchen a lot more. And if you like that, great. If you don't, then you know what? I'm changing. I want to be in here, and I want to be concentrating on health because that's one of the changes that you can make. But also, it helps me think. And in the middle of the day, instead of being closed in a studio, I'd rather be here in the kitchen. All right, love you, and see you tomorrow.
Make your device a whole lot smarter. Get the Karel Cast app free at the App Store of your choice now. Make your device a whole lot smarter. Get the Karel Cast app free at the App Store of your choice now.